What is up, duelists? Arthur Crofts here today with your daily dose of Yu-Gi-Oh! Goat Format action. Today's feature match, we've got Emadesi versus Loker23. As always, both players are rated in the top 200 of the Duelingbook Goat Format ladder. At the time this match was played, let's hop right into it. Looks like Loker was able to win that RPS. Going to lead out just with a classic set. Ooh, okay, so we're going to get set monster, set a couple back row, and then play a chain energy. Of course, you want to do that after you've played all of your other cards so you don't take damage from it. But it looks like some sort of burn strategy here out of Loker. We'll see if Emadesi is prepared for this at all with whatever they are playing. But pretty aggressive start here from Loker. Getting a bunch of stuff here on the board, and then chain energy to try and stall Emadesi out or force them to take damage if they want to sort of answer stuff. Delinquent Duo is going to cost you 1,500 life to play, but pretty strong against Burn just to kind of rip some stuff out. Hits a Just Desserts and an Injection Fairy Lily, which could represent a lot of damage coming in through Loker, so pretty good 2 cards to hit there for Emadesi. Loker could have said that Just Desserts, but choosing to play around a Heavy Storm more so than playing around a Delinquent Duo and getting kind of punished for it there, but it kind of is what it is. I definitely agree with, especially if you don't have like an Ojama Trio or something set, not setting Just Desserts turn 1 makes sense because you don't just want to run it out and have it get sniped by something for very little value. But unfortunately, getting hit with the duo here and a solid, at least early card advantage lead for Emadesi, but they did have to pay 1,500 life for that play and haven't answered any of Loker's board just yet. So we'll see. Gonna go ahead, set a monster pass. You should be taking 500 for that. Yep, they do remember that. But pretty slow start here for Emadesi. Loker with committing a lot of stuff to the board early here and is going to be able to get back to their main phase 1 with it all kind of intact. We're just going to go flip summon Gyakugire Panda. It's at 1,300 attack right now, thanks to the 1 monster on Emadesi's side of the field. We're just going to go ahead and attack the set, which is a magical merchant. Okay, so that's going to be able to flip. It will deal 600 damage to Emadesi with the piercing damage from the Panda, but merchant can go ahead and maybe flip into a good spell or trap. Finds a metamorphosis, so Emadesi playing some sort of control list. TBD if it's classic goat control or the old mashup chaos control deck that we see all the time on the ladder. But going to be able to grab that metamorphosis there, add it to the hand, take a little bit of damage from the Panda. Panda will get powered back down to 800, but Loker in a pretty good spot here, able to start pressuring the life of Emadesi very early on, thanks to this chain energy. And Emadesi's hand clearly didn't have too much going on, so we'll see if they even have an answer to this, or if this Panda will just continue to whittle them down. They find an Exiled Force, which they'll have to pay 500 to play, but is an answer to the Panda, so preventing that, but no back row or anything else to play here, so potentially just very monster-heavy hand. And Loker has an empty board here to maybe go for a big play. Yeah, chain energy coming in. Loker just going to set another monster pass here. Big life advantage for Loker so far, so totally fine playing a little bit slow. Emadesi has the Nobleman of Crossout. Ooh, but it runs into a Big Shield Gardena, so paying 500 and going down a card just to run into the Big Shield is pretty bad for Emadesi. That is, you definitely want to play your Nox against Burn because something like a Morphing Jar or a Cyber Jar resolving is really, really bad for you. But Big Shield Gardena being in the deck makes it really tough to kind of do the math of when it's worth knocking or not. And yeah, pretty clear that Loker would probably just top deck that time, and so yeah, it's basically like 50-50. Is it a jar or is it a big shield, right? And unfortunately, Emadesi getting punished by running it into a big shield there. So really good start here for Loker. Emadesi not being able to establish any sort of presence. Every time they try to play something, they get taxed by the chain energy, and they find themselves down to 3,900 life points already without establishing really any sort of board presence at all. Loker here has a giant Trunade to go and bounce some stuff just on their own accord, I guess. Just wanting to maybe set some things before going for chain energy again. Okay, they're just going to go Swords of Revealing Light to flip up the set monster, which is a Gravekeeper Spy. Often a liability against Burn because it can get you Ojama Ojama Trio locked very easily. But Loker forcing the activation here with the Swords of Revealing Light. Emadesi is going to have to go and summon another copy of itself, which is good at walling stuff out, but as we see often on this channel, you don't want to be the one stalling when you're playing against Burn, because eventually they'll just draw enough secret barrels and just desserts and whatnot to kill you. So yeah, just gonna go True Nade to bounce the stuff, play the swords to force out the spy activation, and then replay the chain energy last so that they don't take any damage from it this turn, and Emidesi still has to play around it on theirs. Pretty nice use of chain energy here, which I think is, represents the majority of damage dealt to Emidesi so far this game. Chain energy is one of those controversial cards in burn lists. People kind of go back and forth on it. But one thing that everyone does say is it's very good if you're able to play it turn one and have it stick around for forever. So kind of best case scenario chain energy here out of Loker, and it's done a ton of damage to Emidesi so far. And I don't think it'll be the last we see out of it. Yeah, setting a back row, taking 500 for it. You also have the Swords of Revealing Light stalling you out as well. So yeah, Emidesi really just not being able to get anything done here, and every time they try to, they take damage. So basically a dream scenario for Loker. They're just able to stall out the game while Emidesi gets whittled away slowly but surely. Loker just adding a back row passing. Second turn of swords here. Yeah, just draw pass from Emidesi, not going to develop their board while they're under swords because they can't really do much anyway. Loker going to add a back row as well. Still have a nice life total advantage, so you're fine taking a few points of damage from the chain energy here and there. Everything's fine. Last turn of swords here for Emidesi. They're going to lead out with a Graceful Charity. Okay. It's probably worth paying 500 life points because you kind of need to make something happen soon. You probably shouldn't draw 4 cards. Yeah, sure. But they're going to discard a Nobleman of Crossout, which is dead, and a Tsukuyomi, which isn't going to do anything here. I mean, I guess you could, if you're running triple spy, you could summon out another one with the Tsukuyomi, which does, 2 spies is a trio lock. 3 spies means they can't play trio on you. So it's a very fine line between spy being good and spy being bad against Burn. But yeah, the Tsukuyomi getting discarded here doesn't necessarily do anything to get through this Big Shield Garden Wall on its own. So pitching that I think makes sense. Just going to pass there, though, after resolving the Graceful. Swords will hit the grave, so next turn they can start attacking, pending any Gravity Bind level in Area B stuff. But just Gracefuling to kind of filter their draws a little bit. Still not able to achieve anything meaningful, though. And Loker, once again, still continuing to be in a good position here. Just going to lead out with a Jar of Greed here. Kind of an interesting card to play when you're running Chain Energy. But, totally fine. Just, draw you into some good stuff. Chainable back row is quite nice as well when your opponent's going to be playing a lot of, especially post-side, a lot of spell and trap card removal. So just having Jar of Greed in here as like a fake trap, essentially, is pretty good. They have a Graceful Charity of their own as well, so we'll see if they can draw into any of their high-impact cards. We're going to get a discarded Giant Rat and a Gravity Bind. When you see Gravity Bind hit the grave, you got to think, okay, they must have another sort of lock piece ready to go. Maybe the second copy of Gravity Bind, or a level limit, perhaps. Rat hitting the bin, yeah, just kind of getting walled up by Spy, not doing here too much here. Emidesi not giving you the opportunity to crash that rat into anything either, so kind of a do-nothing card at the moment. Well, another one of those hit-or-miss cards in burn decks, but it is pretty nice when you can go like Crash Rat summon Panda or Crash Rat summon Lily, so I understand why the deck runs it, especially the ones that kind of have more of an Earth aggro tilt to it. The Looker is just going to go, yeah, so discarding that Gravity Bind signifying that they probably have another lock piece, and they do have one in the form of level limit Area B. Gonna add a couple more cards to the board, including another set monster as well. You should be taking damage to your chain. Oh, they did take 1,500 for the level limit plus the back row plus the set monster. So taking 1,500, dropping to 45. But as long as I feel like when you're playing under chain energy, as long as you have more life than your opponent, you're probably fine developing your board. Because every 500 life basically represents a card that you can play. So you can still play more cards than your opponent, right? Think about it in that frame of reference. In terms of like how many cards can I afford to play, basically. Emidesi here, just gonna go draw pass. Gonna have to discard for hand size here. but we're going to get end phase Ring of Destruction out of Loker, one of the back row that they just set last turn. They're going to pop a Spy and deal 1200 to both players. Ooh, and Chain Secret Barrel. And yeah, that's just going to be GG. 1200 for the ring, and then 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 or more from the Secret Barrel. And yeah, Loker there, able to just land that Chain Energy turn 1, dealt a ton of damage to Emedesi throughout the course of the game, who really could just not get anything going too much. Ran a knock into a Big Shield Gardna, and then was just walled out by it for the rest of the game. Slowly got whittled down by Chain Energy until Loker was able to set up a lethal Ring of Destruction plus Secret Barrel end phase activation there. So all going according to plan there for Panda Burn game 1, but these semi-rogue, semi-unfair decks are, generally favored to win game 1. Emedesi may have lots of good stuff to bring in from the side deck game 2, though. Stuff like extra Argeki breaks, extra back row removal, Sakuretsu armors to deal with the pandas, things like that. So we'll see what sort of technology they're rocking and if they can bring this match back from going down again. So Emedesi gonna go first. Just gonna go set a monster, set a back row, pass. Nothing insane, but not a bad start. Loker here has a very similar opening, and they do have the turn 1 Chain Energy once again, setting a monster, setting 2 back row first, and then going with that Chain Energy. So will this just be a repeat of game 1 and Emedesi slowly gets killed by that Chain Energy? Or do they have an answer for it early? We'll have to see. Heavy Storm is quite strong from Emedesi. You're going to have to take 500 to play that, but can quite immediately blow up all the back row. Loker is just playing, double Jar of Greed, but you at least get to trade the Chain Energy 1-for-1 with the heavy. Emedesi, let's see what your other back row is. It's a Torrential Tribute, which is just going to die. Okay, so pretty interesting play there. My thought is, if you know you have Heavy Storm in hand, you probably don't want to set an unchainable like Torrential turn 1, because there's a decent chance you're going to be able to Heavy Storm turn 2 after Loker gets to play and set a bunch of stuff. So you do end up -1ing yourself, trading your Torrential and your Heavy just for the Chain Energy and 500 life of your own. So kind of a negative trade there for Emedesi. Those Jar Greeds, like I mentioned last game, pretty good when your opponent's siding in a bunch of spell and trap removal, because it can make it kind of tough to know what to hit. But Emedesi at least able to deal with the Chain Energy early here, only going to take 500 damage from it. So the game not going exactly the same as last time, but still decent start here from Loker thanks to double Jar of Greed. Emedesi is going to go set a monster, and then we're going to go flip summon Spirit Reaper, which is interesting. Not a card you would think is super amazing against Burn. I mean, I guess getting the discards in is nice, but they do play a lot of stuff that can wall you out, like Big Shield Gardnas and things like that. And Burn plays like pandas that have piercing damage anyway, so Reaper in defense position might not actually save you a lot of life over the course of a game. So kind of an interesting play here, or an interesting card to have in the 40 post side against Burn. But I can definitely see why it could be good sometimes. If you have a knock here and it's not a Big Shield Gardna, Reaper connecting and getting a discard could be quite good. We just got a breaker, though. Okay, so Big Shield Gardna kind of stuffs this play entirely. Oh, actually, no, it doesn't. Because you can go breaker, attack the Big Shield. You'll take a lot of damage from attacking the 2600 defense monster, but then Reaper can beat over the Gardna in attack position. So maybe that's kind of what the play is going for here. We're just going to get breaker, attack into it. And it's a giant rat. Okay. So Loker going to be able to summon a panda, another rat, something that Reaper definitely cannot get over here. Yeah, Emedesi not getting a lot of value out of this Reaper, at least so far. Yeah, Rat's another card that I forgot that's pretty... Yeah. In fact, Rat is worse to run into than Big Shield Gardna here, because Rat can just completely wall out the Spirit Reaper, and that's what's going to happen here. And we're just going to go into Lily, so going pretty aggressive here is Loker. You could have gone into another Rat, you could have gone into a Panda. We're just going to go for the Lily and set up for a big swing of damage next turn. I think is totally fine. Especially because the Spirit Reaper is now stuck in attack position because it got flip summoned this turn. So you'll at least have one target to get over for a lot of damage. It's essentially a direct attack. Spirit, Spirit Reaper's only going to be able to block 300 damage of this Lily attack, so yeah. Not really getting a ton of value for that Reaper here so far. Ooh, Swords of Revealing Light, though, is nice out of Emidesi, though, to prevent that Lily attack. And now Lily is kind of a sitting duck. Like, Breaker can come attack over it next turn, perhaps. Loker could kill the Breaker by spending 2k, but then you spent 2k on that, right? So that could be kind of nice. Loker, ooh, Heavy Storm of their own, though, is going to be really huge. That'll clear out at least the swords. And it hits a Scapegoat, which Emidesi cannot chain because they summoned a Breaker to go... Well, and so here's the thing, right? You probably don't even want to be activating Scapegoat here. Because then you just make your opponent's pandas really good. And you know what? I don't play a lot of control, so I don't know if people side out Scapegoat against Burn, but it seems like something you probably want to do, at least like on face value. Maybe there are some reasons why Scapegoat is good into Burn, but I feel like it plays into exactly what Panda Burn kind of wants to do, right? Definitely let me know in the comments, though, what your thoughts are. But I feel like it's probably not a card that makes the cut post-side against Burn. As always, I don't know what 55 Emidesi is playing. I just feel like Scapegoat is quite bad in this matchup. And now, so Loker here, after the Heavy Storm completely blowing up Emidesi's side of the board, they're going to be able to just go, oh, is this just lethal? Do we have Lily attack over Reaper, Koala attack over Reaper, and then Trio plus just desserts for game or something? That'd be insane. We're going to go have Lily attack over Breaker. Okay. So, not doing as much damage, but potentially just having lethal here anyway. Emidesi will drop down to 6k. Koala will attack over the Reaper, deal 800. And then, I mean, Trio plus just desserts isn't game, so interesting. Well, I guess Koala doesn't do too much when your opponent only has like 1 or 2 cards in hand. So I can understand just normal summoning just to attack over the Reaper for 800. Because 800 is the maximum damage Reaper can really do at this point with its flip effect anyway. And you know, every point of damage counts when you're playing Burn, so totally fine, especially if you don't have another normal summon to use this turn. But Koala Beatdown is a fun little play out of Burn that you don't see every day. And now we have a couple of back row here as well. Gonna pass turn. Yeah, Breaker not getting a ton of value here, just beating over a rat that summoned out the Lily, which then killed the Breaker. And summoning Breaker into an empty back row as well. So not even able to get its effect off. And yeah. Burn, you don't always play the card advantage game because you just win by burning the opponent directly, trading your cards for damage. So when Burn is able to just like beat up a million cards, it's really not great for kind of the more fair deck that it's playing against. And yeah, I mean, what did you got advantage from Emidesi self-heavy storming, blowing up their own torrential tribute. And then yeah, you just had Lily beat over the Breaker. And you had Heavy Storm popping the swords plus the Scapegoat. So that's 3 instances so far this game where Burn was actually able to plus and is now winning the value game against a Chaos control deck or a Goat control deck. I guess we haven't seen any Thunder Dragons out of Emidesi, so more likely it's just standard Goat control. But yeah, Emidesi here, back really up against the wall. Spirit Reaper at least can wall out the Lily and the Koala next turn by just going into defense position. But we'll see how long that can last. You know, Burn can often play spot removal, can play like Snatch Deals, Ring of Destruction as we saw last game. So tenuous defense, unless Emidesi has something else to add to the board. Pot of Greed is quite good, so going to be able to draw some stuff to potentially help with this. Tsukuyomi is interesting to flip the Lily face down. We're going to flip the Koala face down, and then Nobleman of cross out the Koala. Okay, so dealing with one of the threats, although that's nothing that Spirit Reaper in defense couldn't have just dealt with, but I guess it's fine. And then, yeah, we're just going to go turn Reaper into defense, pass, and hope your Reaper can live to wall out this Injection Fairy Lily, which isn't a terrible play. We'll see if Loker has the removal here. No, just going to go set a monster, set a back row pass, but... So Loker not able to punch in for damage just yet. Reaper doing a decent job of walling things out here for the time being. But, like I said in Game 1, you don't really want to be the one stalling out against Burn. That's part of their game plan as well. So, yeah, you might not be dying right now. but you need to establish a way to make progress against Burn, otherwise you're just going to lose. Burn very much has the inevitability in this matchup. Emidesi, though, has a chance here to draw some more stuff. Just going to set a back row pass, nothing crazy. Loker finds a chain energy, which is quite nice. So just going to punish Emidesi for stalling out even more, make it harder for them to develop their board. And yeah, now Emidesi really going to find themselves in a catch-22. And Chain Energy has gotten so much value for Loker so far this match, I think. Pretty good card sometimes when it comes down in these scenarios in which it's good. Emidesi just going to set a monster pass. We're going to get end phase Ojama Trio, so playing right into the Ojama lock, unfortunately. So yeah, the Ojama tokens will just fill up Emidesi's board completely. Make Just Desserts really good. Make Yakugire Panda really good. I mean, Lily could even... Well, no. You're not going to have Lily beat over. Because these tokens do have 1,000 defense, right? So you can't just beat over them for free without paying the 2,000. But yeah, Loker here in a really good spot. Has the Chain Energy on the board. Has established an Ojama lock. And you have the life total advantage as well. So just kind of a matter of time here. Unless Emidesi is really able to kind of claw their way back. But having already used their Heavy Storm is pretty massive. And having already used their Torrential Tribute, two of the best ways to kind of get out of this scenario that I find them in. And yeah, looking really good for Panda Burn here. Hasn't found the win just yet, though. Just going to set a back row pass. But like I said before, Burn totally fine, just stalling things out. We're going to go flip summon Sangan, attack into the Lily. So saying, okay, I'm either going to kill your Lily, or you have to pay 2,000, and I get to search off Sangan. But Emidesi will take a lot of damage off of that. Right, that's 2,400 damage to the Dome if Loker just activates the Lily effect, which you're probably fine doing if you're Loker, even if Sangan... Even if that means that they're not going to get goat locked, right? Oh, and we're just going to go... Okay, is this just game? It's just Desserts, and then Lily effect. Oh, and then Secret Barrel as well. Yeah. There you go. Okay, so Loker did have the burn pieces. Yeah, Emidesi just really not able to get anything going there. In game 2, some awkward plays there with the early Heavy Storm, and then the Heavy Storm out of Loker as well to kind of mess with their defenses. And then it was just a matter of time before Loker found the burn spells, just like in the first game, or the burn traps, I should say. And yeah, that's Panda Burn going to take it down against what I think is Goat Control here. Yeah, we never saw any Thunder Dragon. So yeah, there you go. Panda Burn 2-0 against Goat Control. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I will catch you all next time.